seems like every other day something's going on.
Uh-huh,
I don't even know what to make of it.
You just kind of got to roll with the punches.
Yeah,
when you wake up the next morning, you just got to expect whatever's going to
Exactly.
get thrown at you.
You never know what's going to go on.
Exactly.
So I got to admit, man, I'm a huge fan of
Really?
your work. Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I've only, it's probably been a week since I first found your stuff, but I was impressed, man. I was really impressed.
Thank you. Yeah.
How long have you been doing it?
Well, I mean, I started just with my like cell phone camera when I was, going through high school and stuff, and I always liked it. And I had a buddy who had a DSLR camera, the fancy camera you can take the lens off of and all that.
Yeah.
And I finally ended up getting one. It was Christmas of 2016. So I've had one of those for about 3 years now or so, and just messing around with it. And God, yeah, I love it. It's just, something to keep me going. It's a good, healthy hobby, it seems like. And
I mean, yeah, you're getting out into the woods.
Mm-hmm.
Are you like hiking out there? I mean, where are you taking these pictures at?
I mean, yeah, I have my favorite places like the Rockefeller Forest and the Avenue of the Giants because I live in Rio Dell, and that's just like the most accessible place. And yeah, I'll go around and hike around a little bit and, try to keep myself in shape and all that. But yeah, a lot of the times I'm really drawn to like just, the roads, just driving, because that's, I don't know, it's kind of sentimental to me, just cruising the avenue when it's raining and stuff like that. And I mean, yeah, not even just the forest, the oceans, just Humboldt's a perfect place to go road tripping on, basically.
Yeah, I mean, you couldn't ask for a better location, right?
You got
the ocean, you could go up to Neyland and take pictures of the sky.
Exactly, yeah. I always say that Humboldt's basically like all the California's best sceneries, basically. Yeah. You got the nice hills, the rolling hills, the beach, the forest, the best forest in California, and little quirky little city life too. Yeah.
So are you carrying your camera just everywhere you go, or do you like scout out locations?
I try to keep it in my truck, but I'm more of like, I work Monday through Friday as a landscaper. So about like 4:30 I'll get off work, and this time of year I like to catch sunsets. So sunsets at 4:50 and I get off work at 4:30. So I'm like, okay, I got to get off and like go head up Monument Road or something that's in Rio Dell. And yeah, but yeah, it just keeps me going.
It's got to be a great hobby.
It's fun. I'm kind of more of like a introverted type person. I like to keep to myself, so I could just be out there for hours alone and just be totally happy with my own thoughts, just listen to my music and just looking for something that makes me go like, whoa, that feeling when you see like just something just makes you go, wow. It's good to try to capture that. Yeah.
I think that's one of the incredible things about photography is you can capture that moment.
Yeah.
Normally.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
yeah, normally you're just out there and you're in it for a minute and then it's gone and you're like, damn. But you capture that. Yeah.
That's the hard part, is like capturing that moment. I mean, every single time I go out, I'll have, a dozen of those moments like, wow. But it's just, you can't capture all of those on a camera. I mean, some of it, maybe video would help a little bit, some of it. But like if you're standing on top of a ridge and, big swarm of birds just flies right through you basically, and the fog's just like ripping by you, it's like kind of hard to really capture that, But yeah, I try to just capture as many of those moments that I feel.
Yeah, you're probably almost kicking yourself, huh? When you're in that and you're like, shit, I didn't have my camera right there.
I mean, it is like a live and learn sort of thing, like a lot of my the big part of photography for me is like editing the photos afterwards, because you take a picture with the really nice cameras, it won't really come exactly like
how you want it.
How you want it, or even like how you just see it visually.
Okay.
And smartphones are really good at that. They have some software that'll pre-edit it, and as
like
you hold your phone up,
thing?
as you hold your phone up, there will be a lot of things, adding saturation, contrast and all that. But those fancy cameras don't really have that. They just give you the raw file, what the sensor picks up. So my job, I see, is to just keep editing it to make it realistic and, something that'll captivate you as well.
How long does it take you to edit a photo? It's probably challenging because you don't want to overdo it, right?
Yeah,
you want to bring out the color, and then you don't want to make it look like it's fake.
Learned it. Some pictures will be a lot easier. Some pictures will be a little harder, between 10 minutes to 2 hours for one picture sometimes. It just really depends. And a lot of the times I'll post it on the internet somewhere so I could look at it on my phone, because, phones will have a bunch of saturation boosts and contrast boosts. It's a lot different than a computer screen.
Yeah.
They kind of try to make it more poppy because it's easier for your eye to pick stuff like that up on your little tiny phone screen. So I try to make it so it looks both good on the computer and the smartphone screen, which is kind of difficult. It's always going to be different. You're never going to have it look the exact same. And I'm figuring like, well, most people are probably going to be looking at it on their smartphone. So I'll kind of try to bid to that.
Yeah.
And kind of desaturate it on the computer. And yeah. I'm trying to hone it in. I'm
hoping you're doing good, man. Uh-huh. I know. I mean, shit. With this, I know the work that goes behind the scenes that you don't actually see, and it's pretty labor intensive.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I mean, it's just something to do to unwind after going out and exploring. You can just kind of scroll through and just like revisit
check
those
out
adventures.
Your work.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that. I mean, it's almost like you have to have an eye for that because you have to be able to. I mean, capture that moment, which is, I mean, I've tried to take pictures of like scenery and it comes out and I'm like, oh, this was rough.
I'm sure I didn't have as good of an eye the first few times I was doing it.
It's like a process.
I've probably taken probably a couple 100,000 pictures in my life.
No shit.
Well, yeah, throughout the just, phone pictures and just as I go along. It's normally about 20,000 a year I'll do on my camera nowadays, give or take. It'll just reset. It goes up to like 10,000 and then resets or something. So I can generally see how many.
How many are you taking when you go out and you're like, okay, I'm going to go hit this spot?
Yeah. If I go like, take a nice foggy morning down to the avenue, it'll be 400 to 400 shots.
And then you got to go back through and high grade all that.
Yeah. And I mean, a lot of the times it's like, if I get like one of my most recent shots, I have, a car coming up and the headlights are
I saw
reflecting off of the pavement. I'll just sit there and as a car's coming up, just take like 10 shots, 12
like
shots.
Like a burst?
Yeah, basically. Because you don't know what's going to be the exact perfect moment at that time. You're getting rained on and all that stuff. You can figure that stuff out later, just as long as you get the shots. And it can be hundreds of shots. But yeah, I normally will remember like, okay, towards the last of it, that's where I want to be looking. So I'll just like change the perspective slightly if I look back at it. And I'll normally hone it in throughout a couple dozen shots. Yeah. But yeah.
How long have you been doing this? Has this just always kind of been?
Yeah. I mean, ever since I kind of had my license and could go out and explore and just like, yeah, so ever since I was 16, I've loved exploring, but I've gotten really into the just, digital photography aspect of it since, I got my DSLR back in 2016 or 2017, I guess. Yeah. Yeah. It's just like 4 years I'm coming up on it and
loving every minute.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I mean, I definitely go through slumps. Like in the summertime, I'll end up not going out as much because, I mean, the weather is a big factor and it's boring in the summer. We get just blue skies and fog.
I would have thought that'd be like the perfect time.
A lot of people do, yeah. But I mean, the fall and spring and winter are my favorite times because I'm kind of a weather nerd. Like I get really excited if it's raining or snowing or
the fog's rolling in.
Yeah, exactly. If you can see some natural phenomenon going on, I'll get excited about it. But it's just blue skies. It's just like tame. It's kind of.
I would not have thought.
I can't do much with it. Yeah.
The first picture I saw from you actually was, it must have been like the Eel River maybe, or the Van Dusen or something, and the fog's rolling in the background, and you've got the rain coming down.
Oh yeah, that's the Eel River. Was there little raindrops kind of floating up? Yeah,
that was a crazy picture.
Thank you. Yeah, it's funny. That morning I drove down to the avenue, went down to the Rockefeller Forest, took pictures for a couple hours, and I came back to Rio Dell where I live, and I was like, let's just go check out the river bar really quick. And who would have thought that's the picture that kind of made the trip. And I mean, it was just not really expected. I kind of crouched down when it was raining in the river and just held it under me so I wouldn't get my camera wet. And
those are probably the best moments to capture. Those ones where you're not quite expecting to get anything. Yeah. And there it is.
Yeah, like that wasn't the first picture I edited when I went back home either. I went through all the other ones and I was like, oh, that's all like, it's not doing it for me. And then I was, okay, maybe this last second thought, maybe that would do it. And you never know what people are going to respond to.
Yeah, that's the crazy part about art, especially, is you don't know what's going to grab people.
Like, you can think it's good, you know, it has some elements like beautiful skies, you know, a good subject or something, but people may just be like, oh yeah, it's just some
It's just a
random
boring
other
picture.
picture. Yeah, but
Yeah.
some pictures where it's like that one, it's just like, oh, it's just the river when it's raining. Like who would like that? But I've sold that picture more than any of my other pictures. You know, just people being like, hey, do you sell prints? And I'm like, well, kind of, yeah, I could just sell you the file or something, like, yeah. But yeah, it always keeps me on my toes, and I'm trying to learn and respond to that, you know, see what people like, and I could do more like that. But it's mainly just down to what I like.
Yeah.
I
You
try
almost have
to,
to feel it, I'd imagine.
yeah. I try to be, not try to be, but I kind of can be a little selfish with it, like, because it's for me first. Like, I never really wanted to be like a big time photographer, wedding photographer, or anything. It's just my hobby. So I I just want to go out there and take pictures, be out there and see what I can make of it. But like, yeah, it's a fine balance between doing that and like doing what you think might make people happy or respond to it more, get more likes or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's got to be a hard road to
Mm-hmm.
travel down, huh? Because at one point you're like,
Yeah.
man, I just want to do this
Mm-hmm.
for, I like this scene and I want this picture.
Yeah. Which is nice because I could still do that. And I mean, it's
Yeah,
just like, because I'm not like a professional photographer being paid to go out to do something.
take
It's
shots
just,
of things you're
yeah.
not actually interested in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is why I think I probably wouldn't want to become a professional photographer. It's all about just my cathartic state of just exploring and, recording what I see. Yeah.
It seems like that's, that's when people get their best work done, is when they go into it not because, man, I want to make some cash or I want to
Definitely.
get,
Yeah.
I want to sell
Mm-hmm.
100,000 pictures or make this my career. They go in because
Yeah.
I just love it. I
Mm-hmm.
think you need that to actually be good for one and to
Yeah.
actually maybe make a career out of it.
That makes sense. Yeah, it's definitely the state of mind going into it, because if you're on a mission, like you're focused on something,
You're going to
like,
miss everything on the outside of that.
yeah, and I've even noticed that when I'm like, okay, this is like the great shot that I want to get. I want to be posted up exactly right here, and I'll spend like an hour waiting for that. Like, I'll find myself falling into that where I don't really need to be. Like, I'll take millions of shots that one place, and when I come back to it in the computer, it's like, oh, that one on the way there was way better than any of those thousands of pictures that I took at that one spot. Yeah.
It's funny how that works out.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's part of the learning process too. Just kind of self improvement over the time, not wasting time, staying in one spot when I could be exploring around and seeing who knows what else.
Yeah. What's the hardest part, do you think, of photography?
Personally, I'm just going to say just messing around with a tripod. I'm the type, I swear.
That's not what I was expecting at all. Damn. Okay.
I'm the type, I want to just be running around unencumbered. I've got
Just
a
taking
really light
shots.
camera, a wide angle lens, and a telephoto lens. I just want to be running around. And I've found like when I get into the low light situations, you have to make the shutter speed lower, which gathers more light. Instead of like a hundredths of a second, you have like 1/30th of a second, which will gather more light, but you get more shaking too.
Okay.
And below, yeah, like 1/30th of a second, it kind of gets some shaking when you're doing it handheld, and that's about the zone where you want to be when you're taking like the nice sunset pictures or in darker areas like the forest. You pretty much have to have the tripod. But if you're in the rain and running out there and
Dealing
trying
with
to
the
set it
elements.
up, and you get the tripod perfect, and then a car comes through and you got to get out of the road, I just want to just
Just like, hold
get it
on, man.
perfect,
Let me
yeah.
take this picture real quick.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's the first thing that popped into my head. What
Damn.
the hardest thing is, like, but yeah. Other than that, it's probably just seeing how people respond to it versus how I respond to it, and kind of trying to mesh that together, get my style to be more, I don't know, popular, if that's the word.
What do you mean?
More accepted. Well, it's nice to get
Recognition.
1,000 likes or
Yeah,
2,000 likes
everybody
on
wants that.
I mean, I can't deny that. That's kind of part of it. Like, you get a little self-esteem boost when you have hundreds of people commenting on it, saying how awesome it is, bringing up memories, making them nostalgic, and yeah, that's definitely a part of it. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that's it's hard. Man, it's hard today
I'm sure you kind of
I was
deal
going to
with
say,
that too. Yeah.
if for no other reason, just because there's so much out there. You know, there's so many photographs, there's so many podcasts, there's so many just pieces of artwork that are really, really good. And so if you're starting out, or even, you know, anywhere in your career or your passion with it, you kind of want that validation. But I think, like you said, I think that if you appreciate it more, then that grounds you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. And you can tell who the really accomplished and talented artists are out there.
And you can tell who's out there just chasing the like. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah,
because it shows in your content.
That's kind of funny. I won't name any names, but like you said that, and I had two different people. Like I know people who like go out and they kind of chase the likes. Like they'll look at like what the most popular thing is. They use like that type of color tone, that type of filter, and other people will just like, yeah, I just love being out there. I just want to share this with everybody. And yeah, there's definitely a dichotomy out there.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I feel like the ones that are just chasing the likes, I mean, sometimes they blow up, right? And sometimes they're pretty popular. But
because there's an algorithm to it. You
got
to
to
know
the
like
system.
Like if you have this sort of, you know, aesthetic to your artwork, it's gonna kind of blow up. Just like if you make a pop song. If you make a pop song about, you know, drugs,
if you're doing
and
pop
sex
or
and party,
screamo's not going to blow up like your pop song is.
That is a good analogy, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, you have to try to stay true to yourself while, keeping that sort of catchiness. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that's what worries me sometimes about like this is it's easy to stay in that cookie cutter kind of lane. And like for this, not talk about things that are controversial or talk about things that are gonna upset people. And then I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, that's not where I'm going with this. Like, I don't care if 5 people or 500 people listen to it. As long as I'm enjoying the conversation, you're enjoying the conversation. And it's interesting. Like, if I find it interesting, nobody else has to.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I'm the one sitting here. You're the one sitting here.
Yeah,
like,
I see.
I would rather us be engaged than us be bored and thinking, what are we... Is
That's
this
true,
shit over yet? Like, what are we doing here? And then everybody online love it.
Yeah, you know, I've watched other, podcasts like this before, and it's true. Like, yeah, when it's nice to have just 2 people having real, just down to earth, authentic conversation, and being on this side of it, it's really cool. Yeah, I didn't actually know what to really expect. It's just sit down conversation with a couple beers, just talking about your passions. Yeah.
What what better way to kill a Saturday?
Exactly.
Knock back a few beers, talk some shit.
I
mean, what else is there to life?
Exactly, yeah, when it comes down to it.
Yeah. I feel like, I think people need to start investing into their hobbies more.
Oh, yeah.
I think if anything, with COVID and everything, I think that's what people should be pulling from this is, hey, man.
Definitely.
That 9-to-5 job that you're working, that's not going to satisfy whatever is in you. Like photography or like painting. Or I had a guy who does woodworking, Josh Sargent, and he makes incredible pieces. And he was like, man, I just do it because I like it. And it's a bonus that people are buying them.
Exactly. Yeah, like, that's how I feel.
That's what you should be doing. Like something you can get off from work and go and just kind of zone out and do your own thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Video games kind of satisfies that for people too.
Yeah, it uses probably a similar part of the mind where it's just like that state of flow. You're not really thinking about what you're doing.
Yes.
Like I'm a musician too, and sometimes when you like if I'm playing piano and you just get into it, you can have hour more go by and
the time just melts away.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
the crazy part.
And that's just so good for people to experience in general. And we're really having a lack of that, it seems like.
I think that's 90% of why people are so on edge right now is because you go to work, you get pissed off, then you come home, you got nothing to do, so you're online and just typing shit.
Yeah, that's where all the angry people online come from.
Go get a hobby. Come on.
Exactly, yeah. Oh, man, it's kind of good, though. It's forcing people to find more about themselves, like learn more about themselves because... a lot of people aren't used to having this amount of time alone with their thoughts.
Yeah, there's a lot of self-reflection, which is good and bad, I feel like.
Yeah.
You got to be able to handle that because when a mirror is put up against yourself And you're like, shit, I don't know how I feel about this. Like that could make or break you in a real way.
Oh, that's so true. Yeah. Yeah,
It's just one of those
times. Yeah.
it's crazy. I would imagine it's probably good for photography right now though, because you can get out and just, I mean, you've got the time.
Yeah,
what are you doing for work?
I'm a landscaper.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah. So I worked 40 hours a week still, but yeah, it's just a good thing to be able to
clear your head.
Yeah, kind of blow off some steam, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, that you need it. That's the thing, is you really need something like that. Something, and I guess, I mean, it depends on what it is, right? Because if you're just getting wasted every night and that's your release, that's gonna be a problem too. You need something you can grow with, and you invest time in and get a return.
That almost seems like it's on the same level as going home and just doing nothing the same night, watching your Netflix, your same binge watch series.
That's a problem, right? Getting lost in Netflix.
That's like almost as bad as being just a closet alcoholic and just getting shit faced every night. Like,
it's true.
I mean, it may not be as unhealthy physically, but mentally, gosh, it's
definitely draining
to just keep yourself, locked away from the world, doing your bare minimum. You're being paid to be an employee, and then you come home and just become a zombie. Yeah, I could see why people have massive depression and anxiety issues. And I mean, I've even dealt with them myself, but it's without that outlet, I couldn't imagine how I would deal with those issues going on. Yeah.
Do you work out at all?
Not much outside of work, but you're
pretty set with your job.
Yeah, it's kind of at my job, I'll be doing anywhere from like installing backyards, shoveling cobble, to climbing trees and pruning them with chainsaws. Yeah, you got all the workout you need. I get plenty of workout at work, which is why, I probably don't work out as much after work, and that's probably why I don't go on 5-mile hikes when I'm doing photography, and I'll drive around more often. Yeah, but
that's definitely, I mean, for me personally, that's definitely been like a huge saving grace with all of this. Because when you're working out or when you're doing a physically active job like that, it's hard to fall into the bullshit of life. Because you're just like, you work out, you get all the stress out, you clear your head a little bit, and you're like, I don't need this. Like, I'm gonna go over here. Like, there are little pitfalls in life, I feel like. And like Netflix is one of those. YouTube's definitely one of those. Social media. And there's pros and cons, but when you work out or when you push yourself in some endeavor, you kind of don't need that.
Yeah, it kind of builds you up as a person when you have to push through something like that physically. It's before I worked as a landscaper, I was going to college. I wanted to be a music teacher actually for a while. So I was kind of going to college for that. And I worked at a middle school after school program and a coffee shop. But yeah, I definitely just didn't get the physical, sort of part of it. I wasn't out of shape or anything, but it's just, it kind of wore on me mentally to not be able to get that out. And that was more of a darker time in my life because I just wasn't outside and getting to explore and just do what I naturally love to do as a person.
Yeah.
And once I kind of learned that, and once I realized that with my job as a landscaper now, it kind of helps me kind of play to what is better for me emotionally and physically.
I don't think enough people realize that.
Yeah.
That like, I mean, especially if you have a desk job or something where you're just sitting at a computer all day, like that wears on you in a weird way.
And I'm sure with like your sleep cycles too, looking at a screen all day. My brother does that. He's a kind of a technical support for this music company, but he's just sitting inside all day, just staring at his music screen or at his laptop, and he can't get to sleep at night ever. He's always had insomnia issues. And I was telling him, like, you got to just spend some time outside, watch the sun go down, and your brain will be like, okay, it's nighttime. I'm going to get sleepy now. But
it's not good for people for sure. I know.
It's weird. Yeah. We're in a weird time in our human history. Like we haven't had stuff like this for, staring at screens. That's the past, 20, 30 years.
Yeah. But to this extent where everybody's pretty much at home and everything you're doing, every way you interact with somebody is all over a screen.
Yeah, I know I'm guilty for that. Definitely, for sure. But yeah, it's uncharted territory. And I'm kind of excited to see how everything plays out. Like once we start studying the pros and cons of our new lifestyle, you know,
it's gonna be weird. Do you think we're gonna go back to how it was before, or you think this is it?
Yeah, there's no going back.
That's what freaks me
Once
out.
It's like, you know, a heroin addict, they taste the heroin. You can never. It's like you're addicted. We've tasted the heroin. Like there's no going back from that. We have, if we want to be entertained, it's at the palm of our hands. Unlike 50 years ago, where you would have to stare off into space and look at a bird flying. I wonder what kind of bird that is.
I wonder if bird watching is still as big. I can't imagine, because you could just go online and find any bird you're interested in looking at.
Well, you know, as a photographer, I've messed around with my telephoto lens. I've become much more of a birder. Like I can tell a sparrow from a starling, from an eagle, from a hawk, and all that, because it's just out there, and I'll see it, take a picture. Hey, look, everybody, I found a bird. And they'll be like, no, that's a red-tailed hawk or a osprey or something. And you just learn so much from just being out there doing stuff. And
you just got to be outside.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So much goes on out there when you're just passing the time.
Yeah, it's weird. I was browsing Reddit the other day, and I saw a post, and it was talking about how, you know, everybody looks at reading books as like the ultimate pastime.
Yeah.
Right? Because you feel like you're learning something, or you're achieving something. But then if someone's like, oh man, I watched Netflix for 8 hours the other day.
Yeah.
You're like, you got to get some help, man. That's not healthy.
That's true. Yeah. Just the
But
stigma.
if I said I was reading for 8 hours, you'd be like, God.
Wow, that guy.
Yeah, this guy's impressive.
That guy's
right?
got a brain on him. Yeah.
I got to catch up to that guy. But it's a weird thing, right? Because you could just read fiction.
Yeah, you could learn nothing reading for 8 hours, but you could learn everything about, you know, global warming and just like how COVID is caused, and just so much information.
It just depends on where you're investing your time.
Yeah.
What source? Because I mean, shit, if you're just looking at social media.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, people kind of generalize, if you're looking at a screen, you're just kind of zombie and your brain's not working, but that's definitely not true. You could be looking up articles, staying up to date, and learning just random new stuff. Like,
yeah, it just depends on what you're doing.
Like I'd follow YouTubers that like are like geologists, and they just like smelt down rocks and make diamonds and stuff, or stuff like that. And it's definitely more productive to watch something like that than, you know, just your
cat videos all day.
Yeah, cat videos, or your freaking 40th episode on whatever show you're watching.
It's hard though, man. Netflix especially has some great.
It's so
oh man, you can get. I started binge watching the newest season of. Oh God, what is it? Big Mouth. Have you seen that?
Oh yeah, I've seen Big Mouth a little bit. Yeah.
I got sucked into it. Man, it's so weird. And it's like watching it, you feel weird because it's like some of the shit that goes on in that show.
Yeah. And you know, like, it's just like kids in the show.
Yeah.
And you're like, why are they saying that? And so fucking
like,
sexual.
Jesus, this is a weird, but it's good. Like,
but it hooks you, yeah.
Oh yeah. I got sucked. I watched like 3 episodes in a row, and I was like, okay, I'm at that point where I could keep going or I could stop, and I had to pull myself out because you kill a
sadistic curiosity, basically, and they're playing into it. Just like how, you know, you've seen so many new serial killer things on Netflix. I don't get that really. You know, like I watched Dexter, you know, that show about.
I never got into Dexter.
Oh, really? It's pretty good. I got drawn into it pretty easily. But it's amazing how many other serial killer shows there are out there, and it's like they're just glorifying a serial killer now. Are we asking for it? Like, really?
Think people love it.
We're kind of asking for it. Like, we're training serial killers right now on Netflix.
True crime podcasts are huge.
Yeah, I've heard of those.
I got hooked on Crime Junkies, which is a great podcast. They do murders, mysteries, serial killers. And it's weird that it's so, like people just love listening to that, which is so weird because it's all dark shit of people just killing other people. Yeah. Or people going
in gory detail.
Yeah. But it's huge. People love it. I mean, I don't know where that comes from.
It's just, our curiosity, because, you know, it's happened to somebody. So you wonder, it could maybe happen to me. I wonder what would actually happen. We're just so curious. Yeah, it kind of plays into it. Yeah, it's
nobody would want to be in that position. But hearing about it, you're like, okay, I can get behind that.
Maybe if you experience it, you'll know how to do it better if you go through it, and that just kind of maybe plays through our fears. Like, if we have a fear of, spiders, if we watch a, show about somebody who's getting eaten alive by spiders.
I don't know that might work differently.
No, that might not work.
make you not want to
maybe
leave your
that was
house
a bad
for a few
example,
weeks.
but
Yeah.
but yeah, maybe it's just kind of assuring us that, like, they still got through it, even though they were getting
I don't know where
murdered by
because it freaks. I mean, listening to it freaks me out in the sense that it makes you realize, man, anybody could snap at any time.
Mm-hmm.
That's the scary thing. I was listening to an episode the other night. I started falling asleep to this. That's how messed up I am now. COVID.
Yeah.
And this dude, he was 10, killed his whole family, his parents, and tried to kill his older sister. Jeez. And she managed to, like, fight with him, and she got him off, and then she said he was, like, in a trance, right? And so they were fighting. She kind of snapped him out of it. He was like, oh shit. She ran to the neighbors. He chased her. Like, long story happened. And then 30 years later, got married and everything, had a family, killed his whole family again. And the sister came out and was like, somebody needs to put him away. And it's like, that just happens.
Is that like a true story?
Yeah. What? They're all true stories. That's the worst part.
Oh, the true crime ones? Yeah.
But it's like your brother, some 10-year-old kid just killed your parents.
Jeez,
How do you deal with that?
I mean, like, you can't send him to juvie hall when he's 10 years old. You figure, it's just,
you hope,
poor kid
maybe
didn't know what he was doing.
Yeah. Maybe this was just a one-time thing. He snapped. But that shit happens.
Yeah.
Like,
and that makes just regular people, a nice mom and dad who had their baby, and it's like, there's something wrong with Jimmy. I hope he's not a serial killer. Like, it makes regular people.
Like, I wonder if you have a tinge. Maybe not in that case.
But
like, if you have a kid who turns out to be a serial killer, do you think there's warning flags that you can actually pick up on?
Oh, you would assume so.
Right?
I mean, just sociopathic tendencies. Yeah, like, they don't care if they're hurting people, or if they're killing, like, a bunny or something. That's your red flags.
Oh, that's what they say, right?
Yeah, if they're killing small animals or something. But that could just also be some redneck kid with a shotgun. Like,
it's a weird thing.
You just can't tell.
You don't know.
There's no way to
people.
tell unless they do something.
Yeah. That's what you always hear, in these true crime stories is, I didn't see it coming.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, well, there must have been something.
Yeah.
Right? Like, your husband just snapped and killed everybody? Like, that's not normal. That doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Where does that come from?
Yeah.
But people love it.
Yeah,
people love it.
I love it too. I mean,
I know. I can't I can't bash it because I get hooked on it too. But it's I can recognize, like, this is a weird.
Yeah, it's just
weird little part of our brain that gets attracted to this.
Why we like it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's easy to just turn your mind off and fall into stuff like that. That's why I try to. I've been sitting down watching TV, and it's the middle of the day, and it's Saturday. I should probably go out and cruise around, take some pictures, and
that's gotta be great motivation. Now you're like, okay, I
definitely.
I gotta go take some pictures to balance myself back out.
Yeah. There's definitely a good balance because I can't be out doing that all the time or playing music all the time.
Yeah,
like, you gotta turn your brain off every once in a while.
That's the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Where's your favorite spot to take some pictures?
I'll say Monument, which is up Monument Road from Rio Del. It's about 10-15 minutes from my house, and you could see all of Rio Del and Scotia, and you go around the corner and you could see Fortuna, the bay a little bit, and Lolita. You could just see for miles. And
I don't think I've been up there.
Really, it's such a beautiful spot.
You got like a bird's eye view.
Yeah, it's basically like Neyland or Bald Hills Road.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just
or like Fickle Hill. That's kind of what I'm picturing. Okay.
Which I actually haven't experienced too much.
Oh,
I've gone up it a little bit. Yeah, but
that's a pretty cool spot.
Yeah, I love all of Humboldt's sort of Bald Hills areas because it just gives you such a free feeling. You're on top of the world, like, and you could see for so long. Like, I could see Trinidad sometimes when the sun's setting from down by Rio Del, like the lights popping on in Trinidad, and God, yeah, it's just amazing up there. You're away from everything, only your thoughts. I love it.
Yeah, that's got to be a cool thing about photography, especially, is you really just get pulled in. Like, you have to focus, I'd imagine, on what you're doing. And so you can kind of just push everything out and, you're just thinking. You're just one with your thought.
Yeah, definitely.
Kind of
Like,
way.
like, oh, okay, that's a really dark shot, so I'm gonna have to open it up, but I want to have the aperture smaller so I can get more detail close up. Yeah, it's just that little kind of monologue going in your brain that just blocks everything out, and it's God, I think it's like medicine for the mind, basically, to just have that going, that kind of state of flow. It's just really good for your day-to-day life. At work you can let things just kind of roll off your back. If you have somebody who's just like nitpicky or just like really getting on your nerves, you could be like, oh, I could just escape and drive to the top of the world after this, and everything will be
everything better.
Everything will be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's pretty much why I love it.
Yeah. That's, I mean, like I was saying, I think people need that.
I do too.
I mean,
and I mean, there's so many different hobbies like that you
could,
do.
like you said,
so,
music. You could do
like woodworking,
sports,
or
woodworking.
Like, even people crochet like crazy, and you could just make these beautiful things that people will use. Like the possibilities are endless, and especially nowadays with COVID, people love just like handmade stuff, and you got the time to do it. Like, man. There's plenty out there.
Yeah, you don't. The excuses are kind of limited now.
Yeah, exactly.
Because a lot of people aren't working, so it's what do you want to do with your time? Do you want to watch Netflix? Okay.
Yeah, and I mean, people can't really be going out to bars or anything too. Like you
can't even go to the gym now.
Yeah, you can't go to the gym. Can't go to the movie theaters. Like all that stuff we used to do for just passive fun. It's gone.
Which was already limited.
Yeah, exactly.
Eureka.
Yeah.
I mean.
Oh yeah, I feel that.
You've got like the bowling alley. Yeah, you especially. Come on.
Yeah, it's like. You got to drive up to Fortuna if you even want a burger from McDonald's or something. Like, yeah, which I kind of like though.
Riodelle, it's a cool little town.
Yeah, it's a neat little town. Yeah. It's got like it's a little bit of history. It was like kind of the party town for Scotia. Scotia was the big old mill town, and pretty much everyone who worked there lived there. So they would just come across the bridge, and I heard there was like a dozen brothels down the street. And I mean, like it was just like a crazy place.
Oh, that would have been cool to see.
Yeah.
Back in its heyday.
Mm-hmm, yeah, I know. Like the highway used to run through it. So there's like 4, 5, 6 gas stations for that tiny little town. Yeah, it would be cool to see Humboldt County, 100 years ago before, we took all the redwoods away.
Have you seen some of the old pictures?
Oh, yeah.
Oh
my gosh. It's incredible.
It's insane.
Yeah. It's so different. I was talking to an old timer, and he said, all this area, we were in Eureka, just downtown Eureka. All this area used to be old growth redwoods. And it took me a second to just stop and imagine 300-foot tall trees going right through the intersection of like Harrison.
It's a weird thing to think about.
Yeah. And it's, it's sad because we only have this tiny little bit left of it, a little bit down the Rockefeller Forest, down by Wyatt, or down, I think, Lady Bird Johnson Grove up near Oric, or Prairie Creek. I might be wrong with the names, but there's a few, just very few untouched redwood forests out there. And I mean, untouched, there's even a road going through it, but
yeah, it's hard to find pristine.
Yeah, like actually pristine that hasn't been logged. But yeah, that's why I like escaping to those areas, to kind of feel like you're, you could be 20,000 years in the past or future, and like it would all just be the same.
Yeah, it's like a trip back in time.
Yeah.
When you get out into the forest, especially.
Mm-hmm. If you get a little bit away from the road, and the sound kind of dims away, you could see a bear around the corner, and you could die. Like you have these thoughts going.
Is that what you're thinking about out there?
Every once in a while, I'm.
What freaks me out? Bears. Yeah.
Oh, bear. Yeah,
or
a
the
mountain lion.
Yeah. That's what kind of.
Did you see that video lately of a guy who encountered a mountain lion? He was a jogger.
Yeah.
And he got chased for like a mile backing up.
It was insane.
That really made me. I carry a little axe hammer combo in my camera bag now, just to have something at all. Yeah.
That video, I mean, just the way it moved. And it was kind of like,
and it would pounce at you.
It was insane. I mean, the guy held his composure really well.
Yeah, I mean,
that's one of those moments
people
where
commenting
were
all like, "Oh no, he was in no danger at all." The cat was just kind of flexing on him to get him out of the area. And
I don't buy that.
It doesn't look like it, but I mean, I'm no animal expert. But yeah, it was crazy, and I think it only backed down once he started attacking it and throwing a
But
couple
yeah,
rocks at
it
it.
back him up like a mile.
It was a lot. It was like an 8-minute
that.
video or something of him just like terrified. I couldn't imagine the fear that guy was feeling.
That's one of those moments where I don't think you'd know how you'd feel until you're actually in it.
Yeah.
Like that level of, man, I could really die right now.
Yeah, and it's likely too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought, I don't know why I didn't go after him. I mean, some say it's because it was protecting its baby, so it just tried to scoot him away from it, but that thing could have taken him out if it wanted to.
Oh,
like,
yeah, I definitely could have, no problem. He was all alone out there, and
she's just talking to it. Okay.
Yeah, okay. It's a good kitty. Yeah.
Dude, I'd be shitting bricks.
You just gotta hope that it's scared of you, too. I mean, and you have those different rules. Like, if you see a bear, what is it? Don't challenge it. Get small. But if you see a mountain lion, challenge it and get big.
Yeah, it depends on the type of bear and stuff, too.
Yeah, exactly. So when you're in that split-second situation out in the forest, it's kind of hard to know exactly, okay,
what am I supposed to do in this moment?
Bear, should I run? Like, your instinct is to run.
Which is not good.
You don't know, yeah.
I think with mountain lion, you definitely don't.
Yeah, I just think of it with, like, my cat versus my dog. Like, the cat is more like a hunter, so it'll try to, like, if you run. But, yeah.
It kicks in their natural instinct. So, chase your prey at that point if you take off running. I think what he did is what you're supposed to do. You're just
slowly back up, talk to it, I think, calmly. And
calmly, that's gonna be the hard part.
Calmly, it's like
screaming at it.
He seemed to be remaining pretty calm. He was like calling it kitty, and
it just came out of nowhere too.
Yeah, I think he saw the cub.
Yeah, and kind of walked towards it, and then the mom just shot out, and it was like, oh, this is gonna be a different kind of story.
Yeah, I mean, those things are actually a little smaller than I expected. The mountain lion, I thought it would be more like lion sized.
Yeah, but they're so strong.
But gosh, yeah,
they've got like so much power. That's the crazy thing.
Yeah, they would have no problem.
Taking
down one person. Yeah.
Yeah, you'd be lunch if they wanted to.
Easily, yeah.
Do you run into a lot of wildlife when you're out there?
Somewhat. I mean, mainly just deer and stuff. I mean, I've never come across a bear, which still surprises me to this day. I've only seen a couple bears when I'm, driving on the road. But yeah, I've never just out and about come across a bear or a large cat. Like, I'll just see bobcats, deer, and that's basically it. A lot of cool birds. Yeah. So most of the time I feel pretty safe because I know in my experience I haven't really come across something like that. But the thought's always there. Like, they're out here.
Yeah, that's the crazy part, right? I mean, I go hunting a lot up in like Trinity or up on South Fork. And that thought's always kind of in the back of your head of you're in nature at this point,
especially as a hunter. Yeah, because
you're going in a little deeper.
You're taking part in the game of wildlife. Like, I'm out here to get something, but something can sure get me too. You just kind of have to.
Yeah, you're not top dog out there.
That. Yeah, that's
even with a gun. You're I mean, you're up there on the food chain, but.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a good shot, if you see it first, and if it's open enough for you to get a shot, maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you have a mountain lion that wants you gone, you probably won't hear it until it's right there.
That's the crazy thing.
But that's like, you kind of have to accept that. The mountain lion probably doesn't want to take that risk to.
It's a humbling experience.
Or something, yeah.
For sure. Because you realize life is not what it is in the city. Or even like in here in Eureka.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like, there's a different hierarchy.
Yeah, sleeping outside in the woods, or hunting out in the middle of nowhere, you realize pretty quick that this is
if
not.
I get hurt right now,
you're gonna?
How am I gonna get out of here?
Yeah, if you break your leg 5 miles in,
you don't have cell service, and like you got to be careful.
A long trip.
You are in control of yourself, and you're the only one who is. You're the only one responsible if you get out of there. Basically.
You gotta be confident for sure.
Yeah, I mean, but that's a good thing for people to go through. Like, physical work every day or a creative outlet. It's a humbling thing that I could say makes you a better person. Yeah,
I think. I'm almost hesitant to say this because I think more people should hunt because I think it's like an experience that grounds you and you appreciate like where you get your food from more in a weird way.
I could see that definitely.
But at the same time, California, I mean, it's
Oh
hard to
yeah,
get a deer
I'm
here
aware
anymore.
of the hunting laws around here. Like I've never been a hunter. I wasn't really raised in a hunting family, but I've always been curious about it. But
It's pretty fun.
yeah. I mean,
It's a
just to
good
be
time.
able to provide for yourself, have that primal sort of feeling of like that animal is going to be my food now. This is just how the whole food chain works.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely a feeling that I feel like I'm ready to go through. But yeah,
Even
in
just being out in
California.
the woods. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
California, there's just so many hunters and there's not enough deer, and
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it seems
But
like that's not the case at a lot of other places, though.
yeah, you can go. I think it's in Hawaii. They
Hmm.
have like axis deer.
No way. Okay.
Somebody brought them over way back in the
Oh
day. You
yeah.
know how that story goes. They
Uh-huh.
bring two and they just multiply like
I've heard
crazy.
something like that. I think it was in Maryland. It was like this Japanese smaller deer. And yeah, one person brought over like a male and a female, let
Just
them
blows
free,
up.
and yeah, so now they have like free hunting, or like a lot of people can hunt in those areas because they're pests basically, and they're
Yeah.
robbing the food from the native species.
Yeah, that's how it
And
is
that's like
in Hawaii.
definitely
There's just too many deer. So you can go
Yeah.
in there. I mean, they're hard to get, is what I've heard. Because
Well, the terrain, I would assume in Hawaii is a little.
I think it's the terrain, but I'm gonna butcher this, but I want to say that axis deer, they're used to being hunted by like tigers and
Yeah,
like
so
serious predators.
they're
So they're
sneaky.
quick. They're quick. So you got to
Uh-huh.
be like on your game to get them. But there's like 30,000 on one of the islands in Hawaii.
Really?
It's just
Huh.
crazy
I would
numbers.
assume, yeah, such a
Just crazy. Yeah,
confined
you wouldn't
area.
expect it.
Uh-huh.
But like that's where you'd want to go.
Yeah,
sure.
definitely not where
Or like Texas.
something's
Yeah.
like endangered. I
Yeah,
think
that would
like,
be-
like our elk around here. I'm not sure how the numbers are, but
I don't know elk numbers.
but like you'll see a ton around that area in
Up in
Oric.
Oric, yeah.
Yeah, but that's basically it. Like they'll stay in their big group, and I wouldn't run into anywhere else basically, but there.
Yeah, I think that's the only place I've seen them in California is right up there.
Yeah, it's awesome to be able to see them though.
Yeah, you can probably get some great pictures of them up there, huh?
Yeah, I've been up there a couple times. I was visiting Fern Canyon one time. I never get up there because it's like 2 hours away from my home.
Yeah, you got to commit for that one.
Yeah, exactly. So I went up there and it was just so crowded. I was hiking down the canyon a little bit, and there's just people passing me as I was trying to take pictures, and I was like waiting for somebody to like get out of the frame, and I was just like, I don't really want this. Like, so I was only there for like 10, 15 minutes, and I turned back, and on my way out, there were these two female hikers about my age just walking back because the road out there is kind of hard for car access, like little cars. You have to go through a creek and all that. And they were hiking back towards Fern Canyon. They flagged me down there like, hey, can we just walk by your car up here? There's a massive bull elk just blocking the road up there. And I was like, oh, sure. Yeah, I bet it's like way off in the prairie. Okay, yeah, you guys can like kind of walk behind my car. And I would have let them in my car, but it was full of a bunch of stuff. But get around the corner, and there's that elk right, like, here's the road. It was right off to the side of the road. Like, you could have touched it out your passenger side window. I go creeping towards it, and it doesn't move at all. And the women are just, like, crouched on the other side of my car as I'm creeping by it, just so they could have something between that beast and them. And, oh, my gosh, it was crazy. It was just so unfazed by us. And after I get about, 20, 30 yards away, it's safe enough for me to get out and, snap a couple pictures. And, oh my gosh.
They're
Those
huge.
things,
They're
just
insane.
the antlers on it alone, it's just like it could have picked up my little car that I had at the time and just, it could have flipped it over if it wanted to. Like, they're not like deer. they're
No,
like
they
they're
don't
like
give a
4 deer
fuck.
stacked on top of each other.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, it's just amazing to be able to come across it. And I actually did get a few pretty good shots out of that too, luckily.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always exciting when I come across something like that because I'm not a wildlife photographer per se. I'm more of a landscape, but I see plenty of wildlife out there, and I can't help myself but to try to
Snap a
capture it
picture.
as much as I can. Yeah.
Elk are weird just because they're so big and they're so strong.
Yeah.
And they're not smart.
No.
And they'll just...
And you can't tell what they're going to do, really.
No, they'll
they
fuck
could be
you up for
standing
no
there.
reason.
Yeah.
You could just... I saw a video of this guy who... Oh, man. I don't know where it was, but there was an elk, and it came over and was just kind of fucking him up for no reason.
Yeah,
I was just trying to take a picture of it. Yeah, and he was probably 30 yards away from it. And it fake charged him, and he was like, okay, I gotta.
Yeah.
And then it just started fucking with him. And it was like must have been a baby or calf.
Yeah.
But I was like, I would more afraid of being close to an elk than like black bear probably.
Yeah.
Just because elk, you don't know, like they just don't care.
Yeah.
They just really don't care.
It could be that time of year they're in the rut or whatever. If they're pissed off because they haven't gotten laid yet and they're really trying to get laid, they're like, come
That's
here.
the worst time. They're not. Yeah, you don't want to.
Yeah, you don't want to mess around with them at that time,
especially without a gun. You don't want to get.
Oh my gosh, yeah. That's why when I was taking that picture, I had my car door open and I was about 4 feet from my car.
Go,
I'm ready to get out of there. Yeah. You definitely have to give nature that respect, that boundary, and then some.
Not enough people really do that though, like especially in Yellowstone.
Yeah,
people will be like walking along with the buffalo or get out of their car, or is it buffalo or bison that they have in?
That's the same, isn't it? I think that's.
Is it the same thing?
Yeah.
All right. Did you see that video of the girl that got
little girl
jacked
and did a couple flips?
Yeah.
Holy crap. Just watching the beginning of that video, I was first off, how are you allowing anybody to be that close, let alone a defenseless little girl?
People just don't realize. Know better. They're like, they think that all these animals are
They're going to Disneyland, and it's like, that's all there for you. Yeah, like, no.
It's not.
That is a wild, dangerous animal that has probably killed somebody before, so stay away from it.
That little girl got
launched. That girl went up, like,
I don't know if she was okay or not.
Air. I think I heard she was okay.
Was she? Oh.
Yeah, but it just kind of, like, hooked her by the shirt or something and flung her up. Oh, my gosh.
Where are the parents in that?
Probably like, running away when they're
in the car.
They're like, oh my God, there's a bison.
Sometimes you got to make a sacrifice, and if this is one of those times, well.
Oh, man.
See, that's why you got to get out in nature so that you can appreciate that nature is not tame. All the people that are like, oh, save the wolves, or.
Yeah.
Oh, they're just, they're like pets. Especially with bears, people think.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like. Oh, what is that one Disney bear that eats the honey? Why can I... Pooh.
Oh,
Winnie the Pooh?
Yeah, Winnie the Pooh, yeah.
You just got to have an appreciation that these animals are not
Winnie the Pooh.
And they don't care about you. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah. Like, if anything, they're scared of you and they want you gone. Like, why are you here?
Or they're thinking, hey, is this my next meal right here? Can I get away with this?
Uh-huh. Like, why is that animal looking at me so funny?
Yeah.
They're hungry. Yeah.
I would not want to be that little girl.
Yeah, but I'm sure she will not make that mistake again.
She won't. I'm sure others will. She's not going to be the last.
Well, you hope that experiences like that are learning experiences for other people in the future. I mean,
well, the problem, like you said, with the mountain lion that was going after the guy, people try to justify it saying, oh, he was in no danger. He would have been fine either way. That mountain lion wouldn't hurt him.
Yeah.
And it's like,
I don't know.
I'm sorry.
What if he tripped and fell in that video? Do you think the lion would have just run away?
Down. It would have been a wrap. Or if he would have turned his back to it
That's what I was expecting. That was like the sort of sadistic, like I'm watching a true crime thing. It's like, I hope he doesn't wait, he might trip. No, don't trip.
You're almost watching to see if he's gonna get jacked.
Just like you watch NASCAR for the wrecks. And
that's true. Do you watch NASCAR?
For the wrecks, I mean, like if there's a good wreck.
People like seeing other people get hurt in situations like that. It's a weird thing.
That's true. I look at Jackass, the film.
Incredibly popular.
They got so much money off of just like kicking each other in the balls and throwing each other into cactus pits and just horribly painful things that you couldn't imagine.
Messing up their bodies.
But you think, shoot, if someone was going to give me $1 million to do that or do something crazy like that, I might just do it.
It's a hard sell, right?
Yeah, like money is kind of hard to come by, like for most people.
Yeah, I mean, would you do that for $1 million?
Yeah, how much self-harm could you take? Yeah. Or $2 million. Like yeah, you'd like to think there's a price on everything, but
I think I don't know. I mean, would you do that? Someone offered you $1 million to be in Jackass, and you're just gonna get jacked the whole time.
I mean, I think if I could walk out of there as good as I am now, like without any real extra major injuries,
no broken bones.
Yeah. I think I could go for something like that. Yeah, the adventure side of it.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I mean, are you gonna walk out in a wheelchair? You gonna be rolling out?
Yeah, I wouldn't be walking out.
Then that's a hard sell.
Yeah,
even for $2 million.
I mean, yeah, that's what I'm like. If I can continue on the way I am after, like, just be physically fine.
Just tore up at this point because they've done what 3, 4 movies.
Shoot, I've seen Johnny Knoxville do a couple stunts for random other TV shows. Like I think I saw him jump off of like a 4-story building into a tiny little pool not too long ago, and other crazy stuff like that. So I don't know. Maybe it kind of builds them up a little bit. They've
got a resilience to it.
Yeah, their skin is pretty thick now, like a rhino's or something. Oh yeah.
Man, I don't know.
Yeah.
We might find out. I mean, money's hard to come by, especially now.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I don't know. What people are willing to put up with, you know?
Yeah. All
in the name of money. It's a good motivator. It's a good motivator if you're not where you want to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because if you're doing something, if you've got some cash in the bank and you're doing something you like, then hey, Jackass doesn't look that appealing.
Yeah, exactly.
But if you're living on the street and it's like, oh man, I can get away scot-free.
They would do that for 10 grand rather than $1 million. Like,
speaking of which, of money, did you hear about that politician guy in Arizona that was, having this baby selling thing going on?
No.
Oh,
that's news to me.
It was in Maricopa County. I think he was like an assessor or something. And he was flying pregnant women in from the Marshall Islands or the Republic of the Marshall Islands.
Yeah. Huh.
So that they could have their kid here, and then he would sell their kid for like 40 grand to some American
kidnap
family.
Or were they agreeing to it?
I think mothers. They agreed to it, right? So he would fly them in so that they could have the kid on U.S. soil.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
They would stay on his property with him till they had the baby, and then he would just sell the baby to the highest bidder type thing.
That's just such a weird concept to me, selling a human life. Like,
yeah, especially like that. Like
that's
not like putting babies up for adoption. That like you're selling kids.
You're straight up just like, yeah.
I think he just got convicted.
Oh, good.
But I mean, it wasn't like a 1 or 2 time thing. Like,
it was.
And he would sell them for 40 grand or 50 grand and then pay the mother like 10.
You got to ask, why are people buying babies for 40 or 50 grand? Why don't they just go to adoption agencies or something like that? They're probably
That's a good point.
They might be seedy or have weird intentions if they're spending 50 grand for a child. I mean, I know adoption agencies, it will cost money.
But do you think it costs that much?
Nowhere near that much, I would assume. I mean,
I can't imagine.
Because I know regular people who have adopted a child and they're not rich or anything. So, unless they have superior genetics in the Marshall Islands or something that's really sought after or something.
I don't know. I don't even know where the Marshall Islands are.
Yeah, I mean, you said that, and I can't even
picture
like the Virgin Islands. Yeah.
I don't know. But 40 grand.
Yeah.
First off, you're selling kids. Second off, who's buying them?
I mean, and what's the paperwork? What are the different like permits you need to buy a child? I
think he was doing it all into the table.
Yeah, you'd assume because he wouldn't be an adoption agency.
No, it was definitely off the record. I don't even think the families that got the kids knew that it was illegal.
I wonder if it's something like the families, like you normally can't adopt a kid if you're a felon. I don't know what the rules are.
Maybe then you pay more.
Right,
if you can't get a kid through
if there's something
agency.
stopping you from being a kid or being a parent. Yeah. I mean, that's the only thing I could think that would make somebody want to spend 40 to 50 grand on a kid. Well, I mean, people spend like $4,000 on a French bulldog. But
that's a good point. You could spend a lot of money on a dog, I guess.
But yeah, that's like because it's like the purebred French bulldog. That's what made me think, like, I wonder if they have some weird genetic, like they don't get cancer in the Marshall Islands or something. Like they've never had a case of something, so they want. Yeah, that's strange.
Know, that's just such a weird.
But yeah, to have that thought, like, oh, I could run a little business. I know this.
I could make
this
some money.
Lady and her friends that they don't want their babies, but they want money, so I can.
That's just like a sick thing to do.
That's pretty. Yeah.
I wonder.
And you said he was a politician?
He was an assessor. Yeah.
Okay.
For Maricopa County.
Doesn't surprise me.
And did it over the span of years. I mean, he had like a lucrative baby factory going on.
Baby factory.
But I mean, that's.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't know, man. This year, it's just one thing after another. I mean, it feels like the world's ended.
Like I said, nothing surprises me anymore. When I wake up, I'm just expecting some crazy thing to be going on, and I'm just going to accept it because that's the way it is.
That's just life now.
It feels like it's been like 4 years since COVID started, but it hasn't even been a full year. Like we're barely over 6 months now, which, God, that's weird. Like,
and it's still going.
Mm-hmm.
We're not.
And every day something's changing, and we're just taking it as it comes.
Did you hear about the aliens?
The aliens? We finally made contact?
No, did you hear about the Israeli space defense guy that came forward and said, there are aliens, we've made contact with them, they don't want the general public to know. I think he said they have like a base under Mars or something. Came forward, he's a top security guy.
Really?
For the Israeli, I want to say it was like the space defense.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Or something weird. Came out and started saying all this. He said Trump was super close to making contact.
Really?
Yeah, and then the monoliths. Like, there's just so much shit going on.
I mean, honestly, like, who are we to say that there's no life out there, seeing how vast the universe is? Like, but you'd think we'd know it, like, if somebody tried to make, like...
Well, did you hear the Pentagon statement that they released? They said, they said, we have recovered crafts not of this earth.
Not of this earth.
Pentagon said
the Pentagon said that?
And nobody's talking about it.
What?
Yeah. That was like...
What's a craft not of this earth? Yeah.
I think they released that in June.
Really?
Yeah. But we have crafts not of this earth.
Really? That came from the Pentagon.
From the Pentagon.
Well, I mean, yeah, a lot of crazy stuff has come out of the government over the past few years, but yeah.
It feels like we're in a sci-fi movie.
I just don't trust anything anymore. Like, just the amount of lies we're told through government or politics,
the media,
or any media in general. Like, it's just, I don't take anything at face value unless I see it for myself. Nowadays, it seems like.
Yeah, it's hard to. There's just so much bullshit that they're putting out. So much.
Like, if they had some evidence, they showed pictures or had a video or some chemical makeup of it or something, but it's just like,
we need some proof.
Yeah, you can't just go out and say something like that. Just like, oh no, there's no proof though, but just believe us.
It's weird that the Pentagon released that though. I'll give them that.
Well, there's been other, unidentified crafts throughout history,
Yeah.
And I mean, who knows if it's just some smart Joe Blow in his
some guy flying a drone out of his house.
He has his weird hobby of making drones, and he made one a little bit too.
Who knows? Maybe it's
but
China.
I mean, I would love to believe if it was like some other.
Oh, it'd be cool.
Life out there, like you feel like something's got to happen. Like
space is so big and so vast.
Yeah,
and there's I want to say they now believe that it's like a 1-to-1 ratio of planets to stars. So there's billions.
Yeah, you would assume so
of planets.
At least. But, I mean, we have 9 different planets, and they found ice on some of Saturn's or Jupiter's moons.
I think they found it on Mars too.
Yeah, and we found evidence of water on Mars. So I mean, that seems to be the building block of life. If we find that there's like tiny little bits of life out there, who's to say that it's not in every galaxy around the universe?
And the idea that we're the only ones,
Uh-huh.
like,
Yeah, I mean,
come on.
yeah, and I
We're
mean,
the only planet that
it's
has life.
like infinite possibilities to how intelligent they could be. Like they could easily be so intelligent that it's just keeping us, at bay. Like they could easily make it so we can't detect them with our rudimentary uh, instruments that we have nowadays. But
Yeah,
yeah,
that's an argument people make for
mm-hmm.
sure, especially if they could travel here.
Yeah.
Like the kind of tech that they'd have to have would be
Yeah, exactly. You kind of have to
it'd be so
travel
different than
light
ours.
speed or something
Yeah.
because it would take generations of people for us to travel across light years or whatever. It would take thousands of years. So we'd have to make a complete society within a spaceship at our level. But yeah, it's definitely really intriguing to think about, and it kind of gives you hope that like, yeah, we're not the only blip of life, like the only conscious beings out there. And yeah.
Even just
See.
looking out at the stars on a clear
Mm-hmm.
night, you get
Oh
the
yeah.
appreciation of just how small and
Yeah.
insignificant we are
Yeah, I
in a way.
remember as a kid learning how like if it's 3,000 light years away, that means that light took 3,000 years to reach you. So the light you're seeing was from when that planet or when the sun was 3,000 years ago. So you're seeing into the past when you're looking up into the stars. Whether that star is a million light years away, you're looking at that star a million years ago. And this very moment, it's a million years ahead. So who knows? Like that star could be gone. Half the stars could be gone, but we don't know it yet because it's just so incredibly vast. There's no way we can wrap our minds around it.
It blows your mind just trying
Uh-huh.
to grasp that.
Yeah, and it's really fun to think about. Like I took a philosophy class in college, and it's a famous like brain in the vat experiment. Like how do you know that you're not just a brain sitting in a vat being hooked up to like a bunch of electrodes being told what's going on around you, because that's the only conscious thing that's going in us is the brain. We have signals. I can feel this table, the cold beer, you can smell, see, but that's all just signals. So it's so easy. You could just easily have brains set up in a big bowl, and you could have a whole world created around that. And I mean,
Yeah,
we almost like have technology to do something like that nowadays. So why
we're
not? Like,
close.
yeah. So if we maybe we're something like that, or in a computer simulation or something, like you never know. But
That's like
yeah.
tying into Descartes, right? The
Mm,
I think therefore I am.
mm-hmm.
I mean, philosophy's weird. You can go down a rabbit
Oh
hole
yeah.
with philosophy because
Oh,
what
I
I mean,
love it
what?
though.
Oh, it's
Like, how can
fantastic.
you think about what you're thinking about? Like,
Well,
it's
how do you,
almost a
like you said, how do you
paradox.
even
Like,
know that this, like,
that this is real,
yeah, how
and
do
you
you,
can see how that would
oh,
send people
yeah.
off the rails and completely lose sense of reality. And that happens to a ton of people, especially like if they get a little too heavy on the drugs, they'll just lose
You could break.
all sense of reality. And you're like, okay, yeah, I am 100% in a simulation. None of these people are real, and yeah, I'm just stuck here. Like a lot of people might just think that. And yeah, it's kind of weird to like be able to understand how people are thinking that, like, and knowing that you're not, or not knowing, but assuming you're not in that situation, because you're a
It's
sane person.
it's a wormhole you could go down if you're not
Yeah.
careful.
Uh huh.
I mean, you could. There are philosophers that take it so deep that it's like I don't even know if you're real. Like I can only prove
Yeah.
that I'm real because I'm thinking, but I don't
Mm-hmm.
know if you're actually thinking. So how do we?
Yeah.
Maybe I am in a simulation.
Had one of my favorite ones, which has a good like moral background. A good philosophy is that we are all the same person. There's only one conscious being out there, and once you finish your life, you'll go back and start like some other life. But it's all like it all kind of takes place throughout time. Like your time isn't really a constant. So everything that has ever been conscious is just you, but at a different
Stage.
stage, basically. Yeah. And I remember hearing someone expanding on that. And once you've lived all the conscious lives, that's how like a god is born or something like that. So once you have experienced, like, lived all the lives, the whole civilization, every living being from like the turtle to the king, you know, that's how like a god is born, basically, or like a single entity or something like that. And who knows, that could be the universe. That's what the universe is, just a collective consciousness. I don't know.
That's a crazy thing to think, though, right?
Yeah, no, it's so many different theories out there, and there's so many minds out there that can create so many different theories like that. It's just, and they all kind of make sense in their own way too. Yeah,
I think it's gonna get even weirder when we actually can like separate you from your consciousness and like upload
I
you
know.
to
I
some
think the
virtual
Russians
world.
are working on that now, but yeah, I can't think of what movie, but yeah, there's just think about being able to upload your consciousness. That's immortality right there.
Have you seen that Amazon show Upload?
Yes, that's what it was. That's what it was. I did watch
That
that.
freaked me out. It was a
Where he
great
goes to
show.
like almost like a retirement community at a lake. Oh my god, yeah, and his girlfriend is in control, and once
his
you
whole
run out of
life.
money, that was a big thing. That was like the sort of Black Mirror moment, if you've seen that.
Yeah.
Like, once you run out of money, you don't have any data left,
You
so
just time out.
You're just existing at the very base level. And yeah, that's scary to think, because that's probably, if that was a real piece of technology,
It would
that's
be
how
like
that's
that.
how they would do it. You would run out of money, you would run out of gigs, and you wouldn't be able to think.
Yeah.
Like,
That's what got me. It
that's
wasn't
scary
that
too.
you
Yeah.
would be uploaded.
Mm-hmm.
It's that, you know, when you're uploaded, it's still that system of you have to pay for everything.
Yeah.
Even in this virtual world, you have to pay for the
Yeah,
food.
even when you're dead, you still have to keep on paying bills.
Yeah. That's what freaked me out, because that's the most realistic version.
Mm-hmm.
Is that these huge companies would come up with it and then charge you
Exactly.
for everything.
Yeah. It's like something that should be a human right, to be able to make yourself immortal, to not die. If that's allowed for one person or rich people, that should be allowed for everybody. Like, that's basically just an evolutionary step for humans.
But it wouldn't be that way.
No, it wouldn't. Yeah.
It all depends on who gets there first, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because Google gets there. Cha-ching!
Yeah, exactly. Or whoever.
They're going to
yeah,
be making, or Facebook, or anything. Whoever comes out with it first, it's going to be.
Yeah, but you got to wonder, like, if it would be exactly like that, if you would actually be able to see, smell, taste things, like it would definitely have its limitations at first. Like in the show, like they're like, oh, we added the umami sense, like we can taste savory now, and they got all excited. Like, could you imagine being trapped in something like that, where all of your senses are pre-downloaded and given to you? God, it would. I mean, yeah, it's better than death, maybe, but
that's the ultimate question, right?
Yeah,
would it be better than death?
Or is it? Like, who knows? You don't know what happens after we die. Like, everyone has their theory, but
yeah, nobody knows. That's the problem.
Yeah, what if you do that and you miss out on the great big thing, or whatever? Like, if there's some sort of an afterlife, or like, you'll never know.
If you had the option, would you go? Would you upload?
Yeah,
I think I would too.
I mean, yeah, that's my first. Like, I'm not a religious person, definitely, so my first thing is like, yeah, I don't want to have to end my existence. Like, nobody wants.
Yeah, you want to live forever if you can.
Yeah, but that's us, some young guys saying that too.
True.
Like,
ask us again when we're 80.
Yeah, once you're an 80-year-old man and you've been through everything that there is to be through, and you've felt all the pain that there is to feel, like, you might just be like, okay, it's about my time. Let's see what's next. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point.
About, yeah. But yeah, that's one good thing about Netflix too. Just stuff like that. It gives us those questions to think about. So much
content.
I guess it isn't, just all mindless stuff when you're just binging away at your favorite show. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it is.
Well,
to
be able to have this after conversation like we're having, it kind of
then it comes more beneficial.
It comes to life. Yeah, and other people might be able to watch and kind of relate with that and talk to their friends about that or something like that. It's just good to have conversations about stuff like that. Like, I've never been one to believe that you don't talk about religion or politics at the table. Like, that's the most important stuff to talk about.
You think you should talk about it, right?
Yeah, that's to be polite. Yeah, you don't talk about religion, politics, but yeah, it's, if you don't want any progress, or Yeah, if you just want to stay with the status quo, I guess that's what you should do. But it's
Yeah,
just
I don't buy into
boring.
that line of
Yeah.
thinking. Because I think
Uh-huh.
that's how you get these echo
That's
chambers.
dangerous. Yeah.
Yeah. Like
Echo
we're in
chambers. Yeah.
now, where you've
Mm-hmm.
got one side that's losing their shit, and you got the
Mm-hmm.
other side that's losing their shit, and
Yeah.
nobody's talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the middle that's like, hey guys, should we talk about this now?
Yeah,
Because the
exactly.
world's kind of on fire
Uh-huh.
and nobody's saying
That's where
anything.
I like to find myself, like towards the middle, because I have friends on both sides of the spectrum. And I think it's important to have friends at both sides of the spectrum
Yeah.
because if you just keep yourself locked around one viewpoint or one ideal, you're going to think that that's how everyone thinks. And that's definitely not true.
It's a rough way to go.
If anyone's traveled the world or talked to people at all, you'll know that every single person is different in their own way. And yeah, if you keep yourself just kind of confined to one viewpoint or ideology, you're just going to be missing out.
That's one of my biggest gripes about social media
Mm-hmm.
is that it's just so easy to fall into whatever bubble. And then you think that's all that's out there. You think everybody thinks this one way.
Oh, yeah.
And you're either with it or against it. And you're like, this is insane.
God, it's so dangerous. Yeah, I could see why it's a thing because the social media is going to play to what you like.
Yeah.
So you're only going to see what you like. But that's not how the world works. You're not only going to see what
People
you
are
like.
so diverse and
Uh-huh.
nuanced. And it's this black and white way of thinking of something's either good or it's bad or this is right and this is wrong.
Yeah,
Like that's just not how the world
it's
actually
all
is.
shades of gray. Yeah, there's no
yeah,
black
everything's
and white
gray if
about it.
anything.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's no right way or wrong way to do anything, but there's always a better way, I think. Like if you're not done improving, you're stagnating and
But how do you improve if we can't even talk about it?
yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah.
How do you make progress?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's just letting yourself being one of the sheep, basically. Yeah. Walking the line, being okay with everything.
Yeah, that's a sad way to go through life.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even that's what I love about this is just you get to talk to people and really see what they're about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Regardless of if you agree with them or not, like you get it. Like we just talked about a ton of shit.
Yeah.
We talked about photographs. We talked about hunting. We talked about
just
uploading into some virtual world.
Exactly. Uh-huh.
All things we would have never talked about.
Yeah.
Had we not done this.
Yeah,
You know
exactly.
what I mean?
If we were like Facebook commenting or something. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's just
you might
so minimal.
Yeah, if we were just commenting on some Facebook post, we might be at each other's throats going, what?
Yeah, like what
does
are you
this guy
talking about?
think? Yeah. This guy
And
doesn't know shit.
I know I've gotten there too. Like when you see somebody who's just so blatantly ignorant, it's like half the time I'm like, okay, are you trolling? If so, yeah, good job. You're really funny. It's a good troll. But God, can you really be so ignorant to the world around you?
I can't do it. I don't comment.
Yeah,
I can't
once I've been learning, it's much easier to just like let it go. Sometimes I'll type out the comment. Sometimes I'll type out a big old paragraph and I'll just move on. I just won't post it because that's basically that'll get it out of my system. When you see that and you're like, okay, my opinion, keep scrolling.
Yeah.
Don't post it.
Because you get sucked into that hole of you're just going back and forth with this person.
Yeah, like you're most likely not going to change their mind.
Oh no, not through Facebook or whatever YouTube, whatever way you're commenting. You can't articulate your idea well enough or your point.
Yeah, it's basically like there's miscommunications definitely.
Yeah,
and you can hash those out because it's amazing how you can miscommunicate with somebody in plain English and they'll read something completely different. But you can step back and be like, oh, wow, yeah, that actually, I can see how you take it that way. Okay. Yeah, sorry. Or something like.
It's not effective to communicate that way.
Yeah.
Like talking in person where I can actually see you, I can see your facial expressions, read your cues. Like that's how we're supposed to be talking.
Yeah, it's a lot more natural for sure.
Yeah. And you get more out of it.
Yeah.
Like if you're just on the other side of a screen, I don't have any, attachment to what I say to you. So I might say anything, but I'm not going to sit here and cuss you out if we disagree.
Yeah, exactly.
But if we're online,
yeah, you don't have.
Yeah, all bets are off.
Screen between you and them, and they could just be miles away, and they're not going to come find you or anything.
No,
like
it's
just
Did you ever play video games as a kid?
Yeah.
Like the Xbox chats.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
get into a party and everyone's just,
Oh
I'm
my
gonna do
gosh,
this.
yeah.
You're gonna do like that's what trying to comment
Just
on social
trash
media
mouth
is.
constantly. Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
that's
Yeah. I actually had to. I stopped playing video games once I was a teenager because I would get angry at them. Like I would be playing like a level or something for like an hour and a half, and I would die and have to do it all over again. I would just be so angry, and it just wasn't productive enough for me. So I ended up just like, since the PS2 came out, I haven't.
so for a minute.
Yeah, so I haven't really been much of a gamer. Like I'll play video games with my friends and stuff, but I just won't get into it like that because it's just unproductive, and I kind of just get into it a little too much. And it's just like, yeah, it doesn't do anything for me, I guess.
That's my problem. It's kind of like watching Netflix. Like you just get sucked into it,
Mm-hmm.
and then especially with video games because they're so damn immersive now. Like
Oh, I know.
you could blow 8 hours.
You can literally live in it with a VR. I
Like
mean,
yeah,
I mean,
now
like talk about immersion.
yeah, and it's still blocky VR, but
Mhm.
god damn, it's pretty good.
I hadn't tried it until about a month or two ago when my buddy got his little Oculus set up, and oh my gosh, yeah, it was some blocky little game where you were just like shooting some weird looking bots.
But still, you get pulled
oh my
in.
god, yeah,
Man.
you look around, they're all around you, and they even have the headphones so you can hear someone coming from the back right, and like you can just know exactly. It's weird, and I almost punched the TV. Honestly, like there was a guy coming up, and I went like that, and my buddy was like, "No, no, no." I didn't realize I was right there. Like you lose complete connection to the world around you.
It's
In more ways than one, I bet.
I think it's like the first stages, right? So like what?
Mhm. Yeah, because it hasn't taken off. They have like the
No.
new PlayStation, new Xbox, and it's totally separate from VR. Everyone thought that was going to be like the new thing.
It's just
It's going to be standard.
it's still a little early. I think it's like the Nintendo 64 or like a GameCube where you can get into it and you're like, oh, this
Yeah.
is cool. But it's not anywhere where it's going to be in
Yeah,
5
I think
years.
people just don't want to be wearing that at all times because like you get just disoriented basically when you have that thing on for more than
Yeah,
a few
you pull
minutes.
it off and you're like, oh shit.
Yeah,
okay.
you could be in a whole different room and you wouldn't know it. Like,
I think I worry about when the technology really gets good.
yeah,
'Cause
like
I
when
think
you
that's
don't
gonna
need a face, it'll be like a lens in your eye or something.
or when you can actually like have you seen Ready Player One?
I don't think so.
That movie? Oh my
No.
god. It's a really good movie.
Okay.
And it's all about this virtual world. And the tech is really good. But I mean, I think people would choose to you just be consumed by that.
Mm-hmm.
Because if your life kind of sucks or you've got problems
Yeah.
in your life that you don't really want to deal with or you got this bullshit job you don't want to
Mhm.
go to and you could just put on a headset and it feels
Yeah.
real, right? It feels
you
like a
could
real world.
Go to a whole different world, be a different person.
Yeah, why are you going to want to be in this one?
Exactly.
If you
yeah.
could have like a mansion or live on another planet or do some crazy things, why would you want to be bound by this place?
Yeah, and I could see that being a big thing. I think that Japanese, I've heard they have a word for people like that. I can't think of the word off the top of my head, but they've created a whole word for people who don't want to go outside and participate with regular society. They would rather stay inside on their computers, play video games, and participate in society in that way, which is still participation in society for sure, but it's, different.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, who knows? Like that could just be how most of our societal
are.
interactions in the future, like
In the future, look at today.
yeah. I mean,
Come on.
yeah,
Like I worry about that with COVID. Like we're ushering in this new age of communication.
it's like we're getting used to it. Like they're helping us get used to kind of the new
they're
lifestyle.
spoon feeding us right now.
Like, I mean, yeah, COVID is dangerous in its respects, but it's not like a zombie apocalypse or some flesh-eating bacteria. If we had something like COVID, but actually like dangerous to the general population, like where it would take out half of the people that got it, I couldn't imagine how much things would actually start to change. And it's like, are we getting like forced to get used to this because that's what's coming, or like what's this future gonna hold for us? Like,
What do you think of the vaccine?
The vaccine, I don't have many personal opinions. I've just heard so many things back and forth. Like, People are just like, oh, they got it ready way too quick. Like, I don't want to take something that they rushed through. And others are like, yeah, of course I'm going to take it straight ahead, like, so I can get on with my life. But a lot of people just have a lot of opinions without credential, I think. Like, a lot of people are like, oh no, they rushed through it way too quick, and I don't think that it's going to be right. Says a guy who's like a contractor, so like a tree trimmer or something, right? Like, yeah, I would expect them to go through it quick because this is like the most affected our whole society has been by something like this before. But yeah, then again, like, who knows? What if they did rush through it? What if it is going to have side effects that come out in the next 6 months? Like, yeah, I don't know. That's my best answer to that question. Yeah, I just don't know. I mean, it'd be good to wait and see. I heard like some 97 and 99-year-old people took the vaccine. They were like the first ones. It's kind of messed up. Like, okay, we got this really old person. We're gonna have him be our guinea pig. What's gonna happen? And yeah, but I mean, if it seems to be like good and it'll help me be back to normal, I'd be for that. Like, if we have like a herd immunity of 70% of us or whatever get that and we'd be okay. Yeah, I'd probably volunteer myself for that. Yeah.
I think I'm definitely gonna wait.
Yeah.
I don't want to be that seems to be a lot
of people's. Yeah. I'm just gonna dip my toe in the water really quick. Just wait and see.
Yeah, I'm gonna let whoever wants to rush out there and get it. I support that decision, but I'm gonna hang back a little bit.
Yeah.
And we're just gonna wait and see how things play out. If everybody looks cool, nobody's growing 6 fingers or
exactly
getting heart disease or something, then we'll usher it in. I think, like you said, there's just so much misinformation.
Oh, yeah.
And more than that, there's so many differing opinions. Like, there are medical professionals who are saying, I'm not going to get this thing.
Really?
Like,
yeah?
I'm going to wait a year before I run out.
Oh, really?
And then you have other ones that are saying, it's fine. Yeah, they rushed it. But like you said, we're in the middle of a pandemic. So, of course, they're going to try to get it out as quick as they can. But at what cost? That's what I think. Like, if there's a reason it takes a decade to make a vaccine, are we skipping steps? That's what I worry about.
That's what I think a lot of people are worried about, is that just we're going to get it out and just some crazy thing's going to happen that they didn't plan for. And I mean, I don't think a lot of us have too much confidence in, the FDA or government organizations in general. Yeah, anymore. Like, so yeah, most people are just so unsure of anything. God, just like, we're just playing it by ear, just waiting for the next news headline to tell us what to do almost. Yeah.
How to feel.
Yeah.
When to freak out.
Yeah. When to buy toilet paper. Like, yeah, that happened again.
Did it happen again?
Yeah. I know I went to the store and there was no toilet paper there. So, well, no, I got the good One Ply brand. I was,
of course, that would be the last
wiping
one.
with sandpaper,
Jesus.
Oh my gosh. But yeah.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, but what happens when people start doing that with food, Like, one of my coworkers was talking about, with all these restaurants being closed, a lot of these small organic farms that supply those restaurants won't be able to get money for their next crop next year because they're not selling their food. So we just won't have enough food there. So maybe Safeway won't be stocked up, and then we'll have another wave and all the food's gone. Like, that's what a lot of people, I think, are scared is going to happen. And I think it's a real possibility with how people reacted both of these waves of COVID. It's just, it's a scary thing seeing how almost irresponsible people are about their other community members, just hoarding everything, going to keep them alive for 5 years when other people just show up too late and they don't get anything. Like, yeah, it's
panic buying is definitely a problem.
Yeah.
And the fact that it was toilet paper, like, of all the things,
if somebody were going to ask me, okay, if a pandemic were going to happen, what would be the first thing to sell out? I would not say toilet paper. I mean, no, you would never think about that.
No, I mean, worst comes to worst, you can find a bush.
It's not exactly.
Ideal, but it's going to be like One Ply.
Well, yeah, us guys can find a bush. I guess. Yeah.
But I mean, why? I mean, I don't know. I haven't heard that though.
Yeah, panicking. Yeah.
The food supply. Well, I mean, you hear about these farmers throwing out thousands of pounds of food because
it's ugly.
They can't. Yeah, that.
Yeah.
But even now, because nobody's buying it.
Oh yeah.
Like they can't get rid of it, so they're just trashing it.
Really,
rather
yeah.
than drive down the price of the product, which is crazy. But
Yeah, well, I mean, they would probably even be losing money at that point.
yeah,
But yeah, to see next year if they don't get those big checks from all the big sales from their harvest. I mean, I know farmers have to put down some big sums of money sometimes when they're getting ready for their spring planting and all that, and the equipment's just so expensive. Like a lot of them are probably just gonna have to be forced out of business.
oh yeah. Well, how
Like
can
the smaller ones,
Yeah, because how I mean they're struggling to compete with big farms already.
Yeah, whatever big corporation is out there owning all the farms.
Yeah.
Which is so sad that this is kind of just pushing out, the mom and shop restaurants and farmers and even little retail stores. It's like the kind of a corporate takeover almost.
Yeah, you hear that a lot online.
Yeah.
A lot of people are like, this is gonna hurt small business.
Oh yeah. I mean, I don't know how many have closed around here, but I know
I
there's
bet by the time
good handful.
Yeah, I bet by the time we're done, it's gonna look really different, especially for like Rio Dell or Ferndale or even us. It's gonna be a different landscape.
Mm-hmm.
And Amazon's out here making huge amounts of money.
That's ridiculous. People can't even have that much money, and
then you've got mom and pop shops that are shutting down.
Yeah, basically because they just can't afford. They don't have the people coming in anymore, and after a few missed paychecks, that's all it takes for a good majority of people. Like
especially a restaurant where you're living paycheck to paycheck already.
Yeah, I mean, it was probably hard enough to open a restaurant as it is before all this happened. But not having your dine-in, even like all the tips that you would probably be making on a given night, it's just
nothing compared to what it was.
You can't even calculate what the effects are going to be in the next.
The weirdest thing is that whole you can eat outside in a tent.
I know.
It's like, why not just make it inside?
Like because it's a little breezier outside. Yeah, but it's like all
window.
enclosed.
Like, yeah.
I know. There's some weird stigmas like that. Like how you can't have somebody like bag your groceries for you, even though like 14 different people have touched that can of beans that was put on the shelf before, but you just can't do that one last one.
How does that make sense? Something
else like that, because it's basically just political correctness at this point. Like how I know I have a mask like these, like I think I heard they don't technically like
do anything,
block anything. Yeah, but it's just like those ones too. Political correctness basically, because you have to have it to enter a store. And I mean, like, yeah, it's just all kind of playing to everyone else so you don't kind of piss off somebody else. And
I was running down on that trail that goes from like Target to the cutoff over there. Yeah. I can't think of the name of it. And there was a lady who was on the side of the trail, and so we're probably like 4 feet apart, and I'm just gonna run by her.
Yeah.
She turns around and screams at us to put on a mask.
Oh yeah. When you're running,
and I was like, A, we're outside.
Yeah.
B, I'm gonna pass you for like 2 seconds. And she was just adamant, not happy.
Yeah.
Put on a mask. Put on a mask.
Yeah.
And I was like, come on. Come on.
Yeah.
Really?
I mean, at that rate, there's not much you can do if you don't want to be that subjected to it. You shouldn't really be out there in the first place. Yeah. But
come on. I think if anything, we should be telling people you need to go get healthy. Like that seems to be your best chance.
Yeah,
Are you healthy?
The main people who get affected by COVID-19 are people who have like weakened immune systems and worse respiratory systems and
underlying conditions.
Those not the underlying conditions, but the other stuff can be helped by going out and exercising pretty regularly and keeping a good healthy diet.
Yeah.
And
taking your vitamins.
Those are things that are actually going to help you against fighting diseases like this.
Yeah, but nobody's talking about that.
No, it doesn't seem like it.
Yeah.
It's just like stay inside, keep yourself away from everyone else, and that's just not how we're wired.
Which is, I heard the other day that the flu numbers are super low. And I'm thinking, obviously,
I heard
because
someone talking about
inside.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what I'm worrying about is how bad is it going to be when we do get to go back out? Because our immune systems are not what they were before everybody got locked down, right? If you're not coming into contact with a bunch of other people
and other germs,
yeah, is it going to be like 100 times worse?
Yeah.
Like what?
Like
Everyone's just
everyone
gonna
would get the common cold and just get knocked on
we're
their
all
butt.
gonna have the flu for like 2 weeks.
Huh. Yeah, that's weird to think about.
Right?
Yeah. Well, I know I got a haircut before I came over here, and the two guys in the barber shop before I got my haircut, they were talking about that. Yeah, how the flu cases were really low. And they're basically saying like, oh, that's because they're just taking all the flu cases and calling them COVID. And so they're like ramping up the media, and the media's just all lying to you. And it's like, it's really just all the regular common cold flu. Like, I mean, yeah, that could be it, but
who knows?
Yeah.
Could just be we're wearing masks.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, everybody's washing their
for
hands.
actually being careful. It makes me wonder how contagious like the flu is compared to COVID, because COVID seems to be like pretty hyper contagious.
I think it's more infectious than the flu.
Yeah,
maybe
because like it's mainly the thing like you just don't have the symptoms for the first 2 weeks. So
yeah,
so like you just wouldn't. Yeah,
you don't know.
Try to block it from other people, but until you know you have it. But yeah,
it's a weird time, man.
It's so weird.
It's yeah. It just doesn't seem like we're handling it effectively.
Yeah.
No matter how you look at it.
Seems like other countries definitely kind of nipped it in the bud a little bit quicker. Like, I haven't checked recently, but I remember about halfway through this a few months ago, it seems like there is a lot of places that had basically gotten rid of it.
Yeah.
And
I think a lot of the smaller countries are on the up.
Yeah.
But like Germany and France
Denmark.
are getting
I thought
again.
Even China got rid of it pretty quick.
Yeah, but that's China.
Yeah, I know. They're like, yeah, we got rid of it. Yeah, don't worry. Don't come over here.
China's like trying to blame other countries for starting it. So,
I mean, yeah.
Who the hell knows what's going on with China?
It came from China. Like, that's the...
They don't want to say that, though.
Yeah. Nobody would want to say it came from...
It didn't come from China.
It's got to, like, originate from somewhere, though.
Yeah, it wasn't China.
It
wasn't them.
Yeah.
That's another problem, too, with countries like that. China especially, they've got the, I'm going to butcher this word, but it's like the Uyghur situation. Have you heard about that?
I don't think so.
It's this minority, I want to say Muslim group.
Okay.
Maybe. But it's this minority group, and China built all these re-education camps. That's what they're calling them. And they're picking people up and just shoving them in there.
Really?
Yeah, middle of the night type shit.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. Yeah, huge problem. Not a lot of people are talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, are you really going to trust China's stats for coronavirus if they're doing that?
Yeah. One thing I know is I can't really trust anyone's anything anymore.
You got to see it. You got to be on the ground.
Yeah. Yeah, but if stuff like that is happening, I mean, it's obviously not right to be shoving people in camps of any sort under their will.
And calling it a re-education camp.
Yeah, like sounds like indoctrination or something like
sketchy.
Or yeah.
Yeah, I don't
know.
It's a
you don't know
that especially that leaves a bad taste.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean,
well, I mean, yeah, we also had our share of camps here.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's just crazy to think that. I mean, living in the U.S. especially, and I think it's most of these, wealthy countries.
Yeah,
you get complacent, and you forget that this is not what the world actually is. Like there are people starving to death in the masses.
Yeah,
there are people being kidnapped and abducted and just dying,
Yeah,
and then we're over here and we've got all this wealth and life is so nice. Even if you're homeless, I think I would rather be homeless here than homeless in
definitely
Afghanistan or India. I mean, India has slums.
Just
hundreds of thousands of people.
Yeah, much larger than like Eureka. Just people just kind of making their own houses as
living
they can
in what looks like a landfill.
Yeah,
dying masses dying.
Yeah, because there's no like sanitation or garbage program, or there's
You're not shitting in a flushing toilet.
Yeah, exactly.
What, you're gonna go crap out in front of your house? Like that. Thinking about that is just such a foreign concept. I think,
but that's just so normal for them over there too. Like it would be weird for them to know that we have like our own separate room for shitting and we sit on a nice porcelain throne or something. It's like, why would you
with fresh water?
Kind of weird. Yeah, why are you pissing and crapping?
Drinkable water,
fresh drinkable water.
What is
like
that?
My cousin died of dehydration the other day, or like poisoned water or something. Like they don't even have fresh water supply, which just makes you think there's enough wealth and infrastructure out there to make sure that everyone in the world has food and water. But we just that's not you can't make money off. You can't make money off of that.
We're not in the
you
business.
You can't make money off of making sure that the global population is healthy and well fed and hydrated. I mean, it's just it makes sense, but it's just sick to think about that we're almost allowing that to happen. Like
you almost have to not think about it to get on with your life. Because if you sit there, it's like philosophy, right? If you start thinking about it, and you start looking into it, it gets ugly fast.
Yeah. And I mean, a lot of people like to say, "Oh, there's nothing I can do about it." And I mean, to an extent, yeah, there's probably nothing you can do to solve the whole problem. But there's tons of people who just drop everything, and dedicate their lives to it because they realize how big of a problem it is around the whole world.
Yeah. Yeah, I had Haley Lamb come on the podcast, and she's volunteered in a ton of different countries.
Oh, really?
And done a lot of work. And, you talk to somebody like that, and you're like, okay, like,
oh, yeah,
it's doable. It's just, I mean, do you want to take a year off of your life to go do that? Not a lot of people do.
If it sounds lazy of me, but if it's all set up for me, if there's like a group already out there doing that, I'd be like, okay, sign me up. If I can just like, leave everything and go do that for a year, I'd love to go help out. But it just takes the initiative of planning something like that or having
the logistics of it all.
Yeah, like I'm sure it costs a lot of money, and to plan something like that, and
then it's
tickets.
Like, what's the dent that makes? Right, I'd imagine it's like the war on drugs, where you arrest some people, you get some drugs off the street, but you're not really putting a dent in the real problem.
Yeah,
and I mean, if you're you could go over there and you could do some good. But I mean, like, especially with India, I mean, they've got like 1 billion people over there.
Yeah.
And you see those slums, and it's like, how do you tackle that problem?
I mean,
like,
you would need of itself, it might not even be, a problem if they have clean drinking water and a healthy source of like food.
They don't, though. I don't
constant work. Yeah, but if you could give them that at least, like. I've heard like, rich people would go over and give away like 100 hamburgers to the local kids. That's actually really hurtful for that society because those kids and families won't go to their regular people where they get food from, and they won't be able to sell that and get whatever, like get their daily wages because these Americans came and gave away free hamburgers, something like that. So if we could just help people out by like giving them wells to clean drinking water, or I don't know, farming techniques. I don't know. The food's a hard part.
It's that expression of you got to teach someone to fish.
Yeah, exactly. You can't just give people a ton of free food. Like,
but it's hard if they're starving, right? Food. If there's no money, and there's no food, then it's kind of hard to be like, well, I don't want to give you the food because I don't want to take away from this other thing. But if there's no other thing and they're starving, it's like, how do you provide that in mass to help everybody?
Yeah, you really can't. I mean, you can't just fix it.
No, it's not one of those problems you can just throw money at.
But does that mean that it's not worth like even trying? I mean, because I know some people over there, they might just be like, what do you mean? Like, we're doing fine. Get out of here trying to like help me and make me feel bad that you're like better than me and you're helping out us poor Indians when we like have our own way of culture. Like, this is how we normally do things. But that's
an interesting perspective, right? Because you hear the argument of, if you've grown up poor, like, you don't really realize you're poor until you're next to someone who's wealthy. Like, it's that mindset of, well, if we're all poor, like, are we actually poor?
Yeah.
But it's I don't know. It's hard looking at it from this perspective, right? Because neither of us are over there.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's actually like.
I'm just seeing. You see videos.
Yeah, you're just seeing what's put out.
Clips, but it's hard to know.
You don't know what it's actually like to live in that and have that be your life and what you would want to try to better that, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, God, it's just there's 7.5 billion different people out there. Like, it's just that number alone is so hard to wrap your mind around. Like, there's 7.5 billion different ways to live your life. And I mean, some people just like suffering is a part of that. Like,
It's crazy to
like
think
you
that,
have
right?
to
Some people
learn.
will die without ever, doing things we take for granted, without ever having shoes. Something
Yeah.
as small as
Uh-huh.
having shoes.
Yeah. But their feet are so tough and leather, they don't even really think, why would I need shoes? It's
Yeah. I mean, yeah,
Why do I need these things around my feet that
it's,
slow me down? Like, what the hell? Like, why are you
that's
guys
true.
doing that? If you step on a rock, you'll be crying, your foot will bleed. Like, you little sissy. Like, they
It's,
might think something like that. Like,
yeah,
it's
it's a
hard to.
weird, life is a weird thing
Mm-hmm.
because, I mean, we didn't pick to be born here. We were just born here. Like,
Yeah.
it's the lottery.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, where's this next one coming out at?
Yeah.
And your life is so varied purely by the fact of where you're born and
Yeah.
to who you're born to. You know
Oh,
what I
yeah,
mean?
definitely.
Like that's just
Yeah,
you
you
start to
can.
think about it and you're like,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
what?
What's in control of that? Like, who
Yeah.
gets what? Why is like if like some horrible person like Hitler gets born into a really nice rich family and doesn't have to worry for anything for their whole life, like why do they deserve something like that? Like, and you have genuine, really nice, caring people who've grown up through horrible adversity and gone through unimaginable things they don't deserve. Like, why do they why do they get that end of the straw? Yeah, it's like
Yeah, where does
there's
it's
a
weird, right?
it's just, is it coincidence or
Just luck of the
karmic
draw.
force, luck of, yeah. Yeah.
Maybe you were bad in past life.
Yeah, but that's not your that's
Yeah,
not on you.
still.
You didn't make that decision.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
It's weird, man.
Yeah,
It's
it
weird.
does seem like some of us are punished more than the others, and it doesn't make sense why.
Yeah, well shit, that ties all back into religion too.
Yeah, and why
Of
people will be drawn to religion to find answers to those questions that are inconceivably answerable. Like, you can't really find an answer to that question, so religion kind of gives you a guide. Like, I'm scared of dying, so if I know that all of the loved ones that have ever died, if they're not actually gone and they're waiting for me up there,
comforts you a little
that's
bit.
a great deal, man. Like, yeah, all I have to do is just believe in this and live this lifestyle. Heck yeah, they put me on board. But I mean, there's people like me who are just like, I can't just have the blind faith. Like, I would love to have that feeling to be like, everything's okay, even when I'm dying, or even when I die, things are just gonna be okay because I'm looked after by a higher power. And that just sounds so nice. I just can't let myself believe that, and I haven't found anything that sounds right to me that I could believe in like that. Yeah,
Yeah, it's weird how
but it
some
keeps
people
me open.
gravitate towards it and
Uh-huh.
others it's just like there's just some invisible force that keeps you from that.
Yeah, I don't know, because like everyone in my family is pretty devout Christian, and they all believe the whole story. They have full faith in Jesus Christ and God, and they know that they're going to end up in heaven, and they've just accepted it. And for some reason, ever since I was like 9 years old in church, I'm just like, this doesn't make any sense. Like, why? Like, so God's like Santa Claus? I don't get it. So it's like, what? And I just
Yeah.
never wanted to go there. And it's just, yes, for some people, it's just, you have different mindset.
Yeah, I've gotten into some heated conversation. My parents
Oh,
are kind
yeah?
of the same. My family's
Yeah.
kind of the same way. I've always been the one that starts those
Me
conversations of, well,
too.
doesn't that sound a
Yeah.
little,
Yeah.
how
Uh-huh.
do you actually feel about this?
It's always a difficult conversation, but it's a good one to
Yeah,
have.
it
Like,
is. You should have it for
uh-huh.
sure. Just because the conversation's hard doesn't mean
Mm-hmm.
it's not valuable.
Yeah. Like, I was talking to my coworker. She's a pretty devout Christian. She has been for her whole life. And like, we'll have long drives. We'll have to go all the way up to Trinidad from the shop and back. So we'll end up just like talking a lot, and we have different viewpoints. So it's really fun to, hash things out and see why they believe what they do, and like what their logic is behind it, because nobody will believe something that's illogical. I mean, everyone has their own logic behind things. And she told me like, yeah, Jesus Christ is my savior because he died for all of my sins before you had to like basically kind of sacrifice something like they would sacrifice a lamb to God to absolve them of their sins, and it was like a regular ritual. But once Jesus Christ came, he died for all of our sins, so all of them are forgiven. So I just love him so much for it. And I was like, okay, I can actually wrap my mind around, like, if you were just like totally grown up around that idea, how that would just make sense, and you could just completely believe in that, in the higher power that's intangible. And yeah, it's just so interesting to.
Oh, it definitely is.
Yeah.
There's a reason that, so many people believe in it.
Yeah.
Like, regardless of how you feel about it, like,
you
can't bullshit that many people.
It basically all comes down to, we're all scared to die, and we want to know something's going to happen afterwards.
Yeah.
We're going to be reincarnated, go to paradise, heaven. We're going to see all of our ancestors that have died. Like, we're just scared shitless, and we don't know what to do about it.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
It'll be interesting if we get to the point where dying is an option.
Yeah.
How that will affect religion and how that will affect people's choices.
What do you mean that dying is an option?
Well, so like if you could go into some artificial reality and upload yourself, or if you could,
I see.
Have your consciousness like put into a robotic body, and you could do that. Would people, would religion start to fade? Would people accept, okay, maybe...
I think there's a situation like that in the Upload show where the daughter wanted the dad to upload, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, and he didn't want to because
he just wanted
he was
to die
waiting for his wife.
Yeah, and his wife was in heaven, and he couldn't just leave her hanging up there because once you upload, you're just you're still alive, so your soul wouldn't go away. Like, your soul is still there, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so weird to think about. To think that that's going to be something that we may have to
decide,
mull over when we're 80. Like,
it's crazy because that used to just be science fiction, man. That's crazy talk.
Or like, if you retire with 50 grand and you die with 50 grand, you can live for 5 years in your afterlife, and then you'll die because it takes 10 grand a year in the afterlife or something that. Like, can you imagine? Like, however rich you are, you can only like live that long.
It's just
I feel like it'd be more something like that. Yeah, millionaires would be able to be completely immortal, but because I'm sure there would have to be some sort of infrastructure in place to keep all those people going, and like, you would have to actually charge people. Like,
you'd almost want it to just be a buy-in thing. If you had to spend money, make
like
it a one-time.
Yeah, not a subscription.
Yeah, no, don't.
You can't subscribe to Afterlife.
12 grand a month. You got to make every payment on time, otherwise they just cut you.
Yeah.
They pull the plug.
Unless you're dead. Oh, that's hilarious.
That would be so sad.
Oh my gosh.
But it feels like that's, if we don't make some course corrections, it'd be that. Everything's going monthly subscription now.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I get used to it. It's like, it's $10 a month. That's nothing. That's like 30 cents a day. So
you start to break it down. I can
it's like, wait, how many $10 a month do I have?
Just not buy coffee this week. Or...
Yeah.
Who knows?
It's too easy to spend money nowadays.
All right. Well, man, we just did 2 hours.
What?
Yeah.
That was 2?
I know.
No way. Huh?
I know.
Man, I thought we were coming up on 45 minutes maybe.
I know. Talking about... I don't need Netflix because I got this, man.
Exactly.
Time flies.
You'll be scrubbing through that in editing.
Yeah.
All right.
Do you have like a page where people can find your stuff?
My main page is my Instagram. It's my full name, Kevin LoMiglio at Instagram.com.
Awesome.
Yeah. And I don't really have a website. Like I said, I'm not really going for like the professional thing. I might eventually, but if anybody ever wants to buy any of my pictures, they could just private message me, tell me which one, and I'll send you like the file, and you can print it out yourself. Like, I'm like so hands off when it comes to that. Like, I'm not big on the logistics side of selling photography. I just want like, here, like $20. You can have the picture. You can print it the size of a wall if you want. Like,
oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it doesn't make any difference.
You're just focused on taking the picture.
Yeah, definitely.
That's cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks, man. I had a great time talking with you.
That was awesome. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks,
for
guys.
having me.